First, let's talk about kind of what's important when you're talking about closing. The first thing that's important is not getting hit. So we'll talk about what aggressive closing is not first, and what it isn't, generally speaking. There's exceptions to the rules, but it's not, I'm going to go straight at my opponent like this. Okay, that's one. It's really better for it not to be this, where I'm just going to take a giant step in and end up with my structure completely compromised. I'm rooted to the ground now. I can't really move from there. I'm kind of stuck. That's not what it is. And another thing that it's not what it is that a lot of people think is, I'll close aggressively to a point and then we'll play at mid-range, right? So I'm here, I take this aggressive step forward, and then I'm like just throwing a mid-range after that. That's not what aggressive closing is either. What it is basically like getting right into their space. You want to get where you're almost board to board with them, or pretty close to. You don't have to be board to board, but almost board to board. And you want to do that pretty quickly, but well timed. In other words, when you decide to go, you have to go, but you don't have to go, I'm going to tap swords, and I'm just going to come forward recklessly no matter what. That's what I kind of said earlier, right? You want to be methodical in how you approach it and when you decide to go. And so, what are we looking for? We're looking for them to be a little off balance, right? Like, if we're moving and they're moving towards us and they do something like they pick up a foot to come, right there's a good time to close aggressively. Like when you see this foot come up off the ground, right? I'm stuck now. I'm rooted here for at least a little bit, and you have a chance to close while that step's happening. So, like, when their foot comes up, good time to go. Even if their left foot forward, when their foot comes up, good time to go. As soon as you see that lead foot come up, it's a good time to go. They're stuck on their back foot, right? At this point, they can't go backwards, right? If you go when they're down on their lead foot, now if you come hard at them, look, I can go backwards, right? Because my weight's on my front foot, so I can go back if I need to, right? When my weight's on my front foot, I can go backwards. When it's on my back foot, I can't, right? So that's one way to time it, is when you see them pick up a foot to move forward, whatever their lead foot is, when they pick it up to move forward, as soon as you see it come up, because once they get it down, they can move. It's too late by the time it gets here. You have to kind of anticipate time when they're going to come forward, and when this comes up, boom, jump, go. Not jump, literally, but go. That's your go point, right? Another way is to actually stick them, right? And so we'll use a little bit of movement to do that. We do things like this, and we rocker step them, right? If I rocker step someone, especially a very committed back peddler, I give them that motion like I'm coming forward, and then they step back, right? Now, where can I go, right? Again, what we've done is planted them on their back foot, right? Instead of hitting it while they're coming forward, we've gotten them while they're coming backwards. So you hit them with that rocker, right? Get them to stick that foot. What we're looking for primarily is this foot to be stuck, right? Whatever that is that gets them stuck on their back foot is good for us. That's a good time for us to go, right? I'll even give you, like, if they're relatively good at movement and they're keeping it tight, when they're in this spot and sliding that front foot, right? Go way over here. So when they're in this spot and sliding that front foot, you see that back foot come up and stick, that's when you can go. So you just have to make sure they can't move backwards again, right? Their best course for moving backwards at this point is a full step back, and then still leaving this behind for a little while for you to capitalize on it. Okay? That's just a little bit about when we want to go. How? Generally speaking, we want to go board up, sword up. This was sword and board, but with anything you want your equipment, you want your stuff high. If they're going backwards, right? It's difficult for them to throw hips. I'm not saying they can't, right? But when my weight's stuck on my back foot, think about when someone throws like dark side at you, right? It's hard for them to do it here unless they step their foot back, they can, right? But when I'm stuck on my back foot, I can kind of do it. Not great, even like a good sword side. It's more difficult when I can't kind of get this rotation here with my body and swing it back. Even there, if you want to do it that way, which I don't generally throw that way, but if you can. So my point is, if they're on their back foot already, their gear's already high, in general, you can expect a high response, right? Like, it's gonna come high whatever they throw. So, when we're closing, we keep our gear high and we stand up tall, right? And then we wanna get off center. So I'm not gonna come right at someone's center and come at them on a close, because I can go right over my board, I'll hit the table, and then I'll open this hip up, or, you know, I have to come off like that. You know, like, you don't want to come around center. So you want to close to the outsides. And basically what you're looking for is to get outside of their defense, right? So if I can take a step, jam someone so they're stuck, and then step outside of their defense, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Inside, right? The other way is almost straight at them, but I'm going to come off center still a little bit. And then what I want to do with this one is control their sword. So my sword's still going to be high. I get them jammed on their back foot, and I'm going to step into them, right? With my sword under their sword, so anything they try to throw, I've gotten blocked on all parts. And if they try to move in any particular way, I can take advantage of it. Now they're stuck, and I'm under their gear, right? And I can take advantage if they try to throw. Now, notice I didn't do this, like jam them and have my shield down. Like, everything's nice and high and tight. I got control of their sword. With my sword, my board's here, right? I can open up on it. All right, questions about that before we start demonstrating like the hows of how it'll work before we move on? If you want to ask questions. Armand, welcome to the stream. Jay Lee, welcome to the stream. Frank, welcome to the stream. Ryan Johns, welcome to the stream. Angelina, you're here. Mike Foss, welcome. Chris, welcome. Marcus Burke, welcome. If you guys have questions so far, let me know. And then we'll get into like the actual hows of, Paul, welcome to the stream, of how we would use it. Like, we'll get someone over here with equipment to demonstrate. But I want to give you guys time to ask questions about that so far. Remember, basically, we're looking to jam them on that back foot, you know, get their weight off center for this particular piece of closing. It's actually a good thing to look for in general when you're fighting, like John Peter, welcome to stream, as a good time to quote unquote go. You know, amp guard and foam fighting in general that I've seen, face us in the last engage. Yeah. Sure. So amp guard in general is a lot of counter fighting, and what we want to avoid, or I wouldn't say what we want to avoid, is what we want to be able to do, because counter fighting's fine, nothing wrong with it. There's a place for everything, right? What we want to be able to do is shift gears on someone so that we can take advantage of them not expecting what we're going to do. What you never want to do is have anyone go, this is that person's game and that's all they're going to do. Once you're in that situation, then you're kind of in trouble, right? I mean, you can be super good at your game, and so there's that, and you know, kill tons of people, fine. But to me, you want to be able to shift gears sometimes and do something different, catch people off guard, you know, throw them for a little bit of a loop. Part of that mental game, that chess game of foam fighting that makes it like super fun to me, right? So, questions so far before we move on? I don't want to stay back here for too long. And we're going to Pluckers pretty soon, so y'all know how that is. Give a few minutes. Oh, you want me to move the camera, eh? Okay. Like this kind of view, eh? We'll just move the stuff down a little bit. Any tips for a shorter fighter on closing? Yeah, all these tips are going to work. I'm a shorter fighter, so yes. All right, let me take a look at that. Okay, you can see feet, yeah. Drinks and wings, yeah. Caitlin, welcome to stream. Sarah, welcome to stream. Corey, welcome to stream. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see what you're asking, Mike. This is some of the stuff I was trying to get you, Mike, too, actually, so you know. We ready, Jamie? Can you help me out? All right. So Jamie also has been working on closing, so aggressive closing is the perfect thing for him to help me out with. All right. They want me facing this way. So what we talked about is jamming him, right? So we'll use the movement to do that, like we talked about. So if I'm fighting him, just right here, they can see us. Okay. If I'm fighting him and I do something like this, whatever your response is going to be. Yeah, so right there. See, now we did that once. More than likely, that's what he's going to do again. See, you don't want to assume the first time, because we're timing this so close, I wouldn't make assumptions and go, oh, this is definitely going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he moved one way in response to something, more than likely, unless he's very, very, very combat computer aware, probably going to move that way again, right? So, general kind of jabbing around, we get him in. Okay, now, when we see that back foot plant, we're in that motion. Now here's a good time for me to close, right? He's got his gear up, and so we're kind of loaded on our front foot. He was loaded on his back foot. Now the super aggressive close, the first one I want to show you, and the very fun one, you just step in and jam their sword, right? Note I said step, not jump, okay? And we're going to change leads for this too. You don't have to, okay, two ways. Without changing leads, we have to slide our back foot up, so as we'll go back one step. As I come off here, I slide up because he's going to do that. Okay, now I step in and I jam. See how I have control of the sword here? Obviously, he's not going to let me stay like this, but for this period of time, I have control of the sword, and I can do things, right? And his responses are limited. Like, sword side hits where he wants to get, but yeah, he can't get there, right? I have the sword. The minute he does that, I can pop right there in the shoulder. So he's concerned. More than likely, what he's going to do is what? Try to go. Okay, that's what we want. Go ahead. One step back. Go ahead. Go. Okay, now he's loaded up. Now he's stuck on his back foot again, right? He went. We jammed his sword. He got scared. He went. Now, this is the killer thriller, right? Now, we've already got him jammed again and scared. His gear's already high. He's kind of not reeling backwards, but he stepped backwards. He's like, crap. This is where our foot goes outside his board, right? We follow him. As he steps, we step, right? We're right here. Now, where can I hit? Can I hit here? Sure. Right around, right? You know, he's going to try to block that. Of course he will. Comes here, as soon as I see that, come back here and go hit, right? These things happen all the time. I'm telling you stuff that I do in fights literally all the time. I don't tell you, like, do this thing, and it's not something you ever see me do. Go back and watch streams. You'll see me do these exact things, I promise. So, I'm telling you, as far as aggressive closing goes, to use stuff that I use. I don't really as much jam straight into the sword anymore. I do that come off step a lot. Okay? So, that's one thing. The things to remember about that, let's step sideways here for 1 second so you can see. The things to remember about that is, I'm not choked until I get inside. So I didn't tell you how to choke. When you get inside, you're going to want to choke. You have better angles with your sword, right? This is what choke means in case you didn't know that. Okay? I slide that back foot up. After I see him step back, I slide my back foot up. I come in, boom, now I'm choked and I'm jammed. Okay? You can do things like here, you know, this is all legal and incorrect. Now I didn't used to do that. I can take control of this board even before I step. Now I've jammed his board into his body. I can step out. He can't get a block there because I have his board. Right? My board has his board. That's a very cool thing to do. You know, people love this thing right here, but everyone can see that coming, and it's not very high success rate. I'm not saying it never works, but people see it coming and you end up getting jammed, and like they're swinging at you when you do it, and it's kind of awkward, and you have to avoid like punching them in the arm with your board, which is not legal, right? But here, I step in, I jam. Now see how it came out? Does two things. One, he wants to go over this shoulder anyway. I've completely protected that. Jammed his board, step in. Now my weight's all on him. Boom, go around. Easy enough. You know, there are people who are very used to that, so you have to watch out for them because they'll have their own responses to it. But especially a place that's not used to closing, very effective way to fight, very effective thing to do, right? Notice we keep our arms tight in that situation. We're not way out here kicking wings so people can get us, right? Because they're going to want to try it. They're going to want to wait for you to open up the arm, or more than likely they're going to run. Okay? That was if we were left foot forward. And we step with our left foot, right? We can close straight away, right? So we come here, that same kind of opening, jabbing motion. This is the big time. get him to jam. Now, we step forward with our right foot, right? We have him here. Now, the reason why this is a little more awkward is because I've already stepped with my right foot. It's hard for me to get outside of this board now. You guys note that? Like, my foot's now inside of this board. I have him jammed, I have control of his board, but if I try to throw from here, it's a lot more awkward and he can get it. And look how far I'm putting my arm out. It's a very, very easy counter for him, right? So, this is the trick to that, right? This is what you have to do. We're still going to change leads. We come off here, we get him a jam, change lead slide. Now I've brought my foot up to my other foot. Now I can step again, right? And then I jam. And I step around and I end up, like my whole back is facing me, right? I've gone 180 degrees. Good times, right? No problem. That's what we're looking for. Okay? So, but the important thing, again, get him stuck on that back foot, keep our gear on, right? Because on our way in, if we do it properly, like if I just close on him, hit me with whatever you want. I think I know what it'll be, but I'm just going to close on round high. I'll close on, yes, that's going to happen all the time. Okay? All the time you're going to get hit sword side hip because you're closing hard like that. It's going to get you in trouble, right? If we're here, we're coming off center, we step aggressively, try to hit sword side hip. You can't even get it, right? And now we got him. This is of course the normal fighting. Right now we step in. Now we've taken control of the sword too, right? And now he's just like, what do I do? So you look for those opportunities off of the cut. And it's not exactly what I demonstrated, but reality ends up being a little bit different every time you fight. But that hard step comes in at the same time. We look to jam him so his options are limited, and then we'll go slow. If I'm here, you know, I gotta do a couple things. Fake high, right? Fake low, fake high, right? Jam him. He's stuck. Now he's stuck. He's planning. We like that. Okay, then we step in. Okay, now he's going away. He's gonna try to go. Like he'll run from there. We can go ahead back to left foot forward. It's fine. And then, you know, we put it over here. Right. We come back, arm, hip. It's good. It's whatever. The thing is, what you're looking for when you get that inside, you're looking for a good hip, right? A good tight inside hip. No, not like, there's no need to do this anymore. That's an outside shot. But what money actually is, which that is actually money, that big hip shot, not all sword side hip is money, that one is. That big outside hip, that's not really a closing shot, right? Once we're here, it's very difficult to land that shot, but it's also unnecessary. You just come here, right? And if that happens, step out and come back around over the court, right? So my point is, these are the targets you're looking for. Here, you know, trying to go here is okay, but that's where his gear is going to be because he's scared of that. He's tightened up to this position, right? So it's not that great of a closing shot, right? There needs to be more setup if you're going to do that. It's a good fake to lead into it. One more, and then I'll take some more questions. I think it's cool that I can show you. That same kind of setup from here. I go low and then high, right? That's a closing step, right? I got out, but I'm inside. If I get deep inside, even if I'm jammed here, and then I twitch at him, jam his board, twitch this here, right? Full inside, 5-1-2, deep. Almost nobody throws a 5-1-2 that close to anybody. Like you don't see people do it, so they don't expect it. And it gets you in and around real quick. It looks cool. It's effective because you're getting the spin. People are like, oh, that spin's not necessary. Well, it is, right? Coming here, I'm getting out past here. Now when I throw, okay, go ahead. Now when I throw, look, I'm coming up and around where his defense was. Okay? Like, it gets you there. So, those things are what's important. Quick review to remember. We keep our gear high because their response is going to be high. When I press it on him, like this, he's not looking at low anymore. He's looking at high. So our gear's high, right? And notice how I tabled a little. I want to control his board if I can get it. You know, if he's smart, I'm not going to tell you all the counter yet. Next time I'll tell you all the counter. Okay? If I can control his board here, solid. We're good, right? This is a shot we want to avoid, right? Our targets are generally here and here, right? We can obviously combo it. I'm here tight, right? Ah, that's good. That's good, right? Here, right? You see, he can block. He's got good defense. We add. It doesn't matter. It's not, everything's not always going to work, but when you're in the inside like that, mostly they're like, oh shit, what do I do from here? And you're like, well, I'm attacking. I'm attacking these two targets, and you know what you can expect is generally high stuff until they start figuring it out. If they're not dumb, they're gonna start slipping. Again, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. Okay, so that's in general like the basic setups for aggressive closing. I'll take some questions and then we gotta go eat. So let's go. Thanks, Jamie.